work, eat, spend our nights, and even vacation like no other invention in history. Now, whether you love him or hate him, one thing Elon Musk knows is how to make money. Optimus, he says, will fundamentally transform civilization as we know it. And he's not the only one who thinks so. Google's CEO calls it one of the most important things humanity is working on. The chief innovation officer at Accenture says this is by far the fastest moving technology that we've ever tracked in terms of its impact, and we're just getting started. Microsoft CEO declares it the defining technology of our times. This isn't the future, it's here and it's now. Optimus is already hard at work in Tesla's Fremont, California factory. It went from prototype to a fully functional unit in less than 6 months. And it's built, designed, and most importantly, priced to perform in millions of homes worldwide, including yours. Picture your own personal housekeeper. Washes, folds, and puts away your laundry. Cleans your house. Makes you coffee in the morning. Lets out the cats. Warms up your car in the winter. Takes out the garbage, vacuums, mops the floor, cleans the john. So it sounds like a luxury that only millionaires could afford, but you'd be wrong. Optimus is designed for everyday people for less than the price of a used rundown car, and about a tenth of what it would cost to hire out all of those individual services. Now, what makes Optimus so revolutionary is not its little 9-servo hands or its full-day battery charge or even its used car price tag. The most important piece of Optimus is the small component hidden inside the lower left side of his chest, exactly here. You could call it their heart, the one component that will change the day-to-day lives of regular people for the next century and beyond. It's definitely more practical and profitable than sending a rocket ship to Mars, more revolutionary than providing satellite internet service. And it's predicted to dwarf the sales of Tesla cars in units and dollars. In a relatively short time, I predict Optimus will be in tens of millions of homes, the same way Alexa or Netflix is right now. But again, the real moneymaker is in the technology itself, the heart hidden within Optimus. I believe investing in this single technology could make any average American filthy rich. It's a secret backdoor investment into this new tech, and anyone can get in on the ground floor for a surprisingly tiny investment, about 38 cents at the moment. What kind of money are we talking about? Okay, well, think of it like this. If you had the chance to have a redo on Tesla from the very beginning, would you take it? Consider that Tesla started at $1.13 per share, and it soared to a peak of $371. So that's nearly a 33,000% gain, enough to turn every $5,000 into $1.6 million. And yet, that's most likely small potatoes compared to the technology inside Optimus. Forbes says companies will thrive or wither depending on whether they realize this potential. Bloomberg calls it a revolution embedded everywhere. Investors Business Daily says, in business, this is what the future holds. And the Wall Street Journal says this technology, it will save the economy. And this is all high praise for sure. But if you're a skeptic like me, you want to see the numbers. You want to see how and why any average person can get rich off of a 38-cent investment. Well, raw technology inside the heart of Optimus is currently valued at $136 billion globally. But according to Price Waterhouse, one of the biggest accounting firms in the world, this industry is projected to grow by more than 100 times by 2030, becoming bigger than the entire construction industry and adding healthcare, finance, and retail combined. As with every technology, the real money is made in the parts and pieces that go into it. So let's take the iPhone, for example. When sales were beginning to boom, a few engineers immediately tore them apart to see who was supplying the critical tech. The thought was, sure, Apple stock's going to do really well, but it was already a very expensive stock. But see, the companies making the parts are much smaller, so they have a lot more upside. I'm talking about the makers of optical components, radio frequency chips, flash memory, the little guts and pieces inside the thing. And they were onto something pretty big. Chip makers for the iPhone, for example, they had leapfrogged Apple's stock performance. While Apple went up 56%, Micron was up 503%. That's almost 9 times the return during the same period. While Apple went up 116%, Skyworks soared by 387%. That's over 3 times the return of Apple. And while Apple went up 303%, Synaptics skyrocketed an astounding 904%, almost 3 times what Apple did. Today, this exact same scenario is forming. In fact, the industry underlying the unique technology inside Optimus is now projected to add a massive $15.7 trillion to the global economy in just a few years. a market more than 70 times larger than the iPhone, even dwarfing all of Apple's products combined. And at the same time, we're not talking about stocks trading for $5, $21, and $26. We're talking about tiny, minuscule companies that you can get a piece of for as little as 38 cents, and some less than a penny and a half. We're talking about a starting point way lower with plays that are smaller and much more affordable. Companies with a lower floor and a much higher ceiling. I'm talking profit potential as much as 100 times higher than what we've ever seen before. So if you're open for a little adventure, a tiny stake could hand you an outsized gain, all because of what's under the hood of Optimus. And there's only one way to invest in this technology directly. It's by getting a piece of UAI, or what I call ubiquitous artificial intelligence. And I'll get more into the technical details in a minute, but first, let me walk you through the name. Now, it's called ubiquitous because it's not just a single function AI, but it's everywhere, everything, all at once. It runs in the background and you never even know it's there. The best way to make money on this is not by buying into an AI company. Think of this investment like buying into a toll booth. And just like a toll booth, the more tolls paid, the more you could stand to make. Imagine the benefit for millions, then billions of transactions every day, and then every second. And you can instantly realize the potential that I'm talking about. For example, let's say a robot like Optimus is running on UAI. You tell it to sweep up your garage, and your command creates a toll. You tell it to do the dishes, your command creates a toll. You have it start your car, your command creates a toll. Now multiply that by imagining millions of robots doing 10, 20, 50 tasks a day. With this toll booth investment I'm going to show you today, you can get a piece of the action on every single one of those tasks. I'm talking about potentially billions of transactions, and that adds up fast. This UAI technology will eventually be everywhere. Take an AI voice assistant like Apple's Siri. Ask for directions to the nearest Target. Your request creates a toll. Ask for the morning's traffic report for your daily commute or the day's weather. Your request creates a toll. Now imagine millions of people asking Siri for directions or reminding them about a dentist appointment or finding a restaurant, or all of the thousands upon thousands of other things that Siri can do. And then multiply that by millions of people using it. With this toll booth investment, you'd get an incremental piece of all of that action. And with millions of transactions, those incremental pieces add up fast. The opportunities for you collecting a piece of that are endless. Take a search engine like Google. Millions of searches every few minutes, maybe even every few seconds. Every time someone types in a search term, your profit potential goes up. And that's a lot of tiny tolls being paid, right? Let's take it a step further. Because what makes UAI so incredible is every 6 months, it doubles in power. A year from now, today's UAI is going to be 4 times smarter. That means it can do more things. If, say, your version of Optimus could sweep your garage, mow your lawn in a day. With UAI, it can now sweep your garage, mow your lawn, clean your gutters, reorganize your closet, and cook you breakfast, lunch, and dinner all in the same day. 4 times more things, 4 times more tolls. 2 years from now, it will be 16 times smarter. 16 times more things, 16 times more tolls. 3 years from now, it's going to be 64 times smarter than it currently is today. 64 times more things equals 64 times more tolls. It's an exponential growth curve. And companies in this industry are projected to make trillions in the next 5 to 7 years as this growth curve accelerates. Those profits will get passed down to investors like you and me. So to ignore the potential to your financial future is like walking away from a jackpot of tolls. But I believe the biggest gains are going to come from tiny UAI companies that you've never even heard before. And these tiny UAI companies are going to be the future of big tech all around the globe. What we're going to witness is a complete sea change of who will be at the top of the Fortune 500. Because these tiny companies will soon have a huge advantage over the standard AI from Google and others. Stacking this brand new technology on top of the current narrow AI, a technology that's going to act as the rails to the masses. A simple explanation is it's similar to the way e-commerce works. You can't order shaving cream on Amazon without the rails of the internet. In other words, the rails are the distribution system, how the UAI will be used by millions of users. As a result of this new UAI, this technology is going to cut our dependence on big tech. Because this new UAI, it works faster, and it can access more raw computing power than the big boys. And get this, it keeps our information far more secure. In fact, the new rails of UAI have never been hacked. A board member of PayPal heard about this new technology And he was so intrigued, he paid not one, but two security teams $500,000 to hack it. 6 months later, both teams came back with the same report. Impossible to hack. And that's critical. As sick as we are of big tech letting our personal data get stolen from right underneath their noses, having impenetrable security is a huge relief. This new technology that forms the rails of UAI is just what we need when we need it most. It's not just going to advance robots, it's going to be used in the automotive, financial services, healthcare, every industry under the sun, even in small businesses, trickling all the way down to you and me. And this is the big money-making opportunity. Standard AI, like Google's DeepMind, is very powerful, but they can't talk to IBM's Watson or Amazon's Cloud AI. But UAI is completely different. And without getting into the weeds and technobabble, I'll try to make this simple. UAI programs are called agents, and each agent is very skilled at one specific task. But what gives UAI the advantage is that these agents can talk to each other in real time. It puts all of these UAI agents into a network so they can all talk with one another, they can learn from each other, they can assign tasks to each other. So here's where it gets really good. Every time one UAI agent does a task with another agent, a tiny monetary microtransaction occurs. So as these networks of UAI agents do their work, millions of these tiny transactions can occur every hour. And with these toll booth UAI companies, anyone can participate in these transactions. The best part is, not very many investors are even looking at them right now. So they're dirt cheap. In fact, right now, I believe a quick 400 to 500% is sitting on the table over the next few months. That's because I've been an insider in the fastest changing innovative technology of our lifetimes. My name is Nick Black. I stumbled into this new UAI technology not because I know Elon Musk. I don't know him. I do know some of the top minds making it a reality. And here's the cool part. This new technology behind UAI is making ordinary Americans very wealthy. Like former software engineer Kevin Ackerman of San Francisco, California. One of his plays skyrocketed 13,846% in just 90 days, enough for him to quit work and travel the world. And Joseph Oster from New Rochelle, New York. After college, Oster landed a high-pressure sales job for IBM. For 4 years, Oster dealt with stiff quotas and stuck to the 9-to-5 grind. In about a year, his portfolio gained a massive 10,981%. That's more than a 100-fold increase, rocketing his investments to $4.1 million. Or John Erickson of Billings, Montana. As a teenager, Erickson hated school. His teachers told him, literally to his face, that he would end up flipping burgers at McDonald's. Erickson took a $1,000 gift from his grandmother, and he plunked it into one of these investments. And while everyone thought Erickson wouldn't amount to anything, he became a millionaire before he was 18. He even splurged on an Audi R8 coupe for $170,000. I could go on and on with examples, me included. I managed to boost my entire net worth, not just my portfolio, by 6,230% between 2016 and mid-2022, all because I've been on the forefront of this new technology. Listen, I'm sure you've probably got a good idea of what your net worth is. How much different would your life be if it was 62 times bigger? Fact is, I'm nowhere near done building mine, and I'm guessing that you're not either. Because of my deep knowledge of this new technology, I manage an enormous amount of money for high net worth clients here in the US, Germany, India, South America, and in Dubai, who are already taking big investment bucks into this space. And I believe these tiny companies that I'm about to show you have the biggest potential I've ever seen. And that's why I'm telling everyone that I know to get in on this, including my very best clients. So let's get started by talking about my favorite UAI company. Of course, big tech's AI systems get all the press as they work to create intelligent computers. To the average person, it would seem like they're unstoppable. But they're not going where the money is right now. They're looking decades, even centuries out. And AI isn't going to become a $15.7 trillion economic force by 2030 unless it's mass market. That's what gives this first company a huge advantage. The CEO of this company says, say someone has a computer system doing something, and they would like AI to do it better. Unless you're Google or Tencent, you're probably not going to build your own AI. You're going to go grab AI from some software package. Those are our customers. I know this CEO. He's a pioneer in getting UAI into the small and mid-sized business market. But you might be surprised about the business model he's using. Think eBay, the $20 billion retail marketplace that changed the way the world buys. They were the first to market. In case you don't know, eBay created not one, but two massive transformations. First, Before eBay, most Americans never bought anything online. But soon, even grandmas and grandpas who hated technology were bidding on everything from antique tea sets to hard to find car parts. So eBay, they made online shopping mainstream. So that was the first transformation. For the second transformation, eBay solved another big problem. In the late 1990s, getting into e-commerce was pretty daunting and expensive, far beyond the reach of the average business. But eBay made it easy. Using its platform, anybody with a computer and access to the internet could sell almost anything on eBay. Sports cards, bikes, computers, watches, cars, you name it. And as you can see, the stock market absolutely loved it. eBay's first 7 months of trading saw its stock surge 1,200%, all because it transformed the status quo by cementing two transformations that formed the new digital economy. This UAI company is helping make the exact same transformations. I call it the marketplace of UAI because, like eBay, they created a marketplace of many vendors, and they make it extremely easy for businesses to access UAI. It's the first to market one-stop shop for all things UAI, a market where I believe millions of tolls will be paid every day and eventually every second. And that's going to make it a veritable money machine. The marketplace of UAI is led by a CEO with 30 years experience in artificial intelligence, a man who's written 18 books on the subject, more than 140 research papers, and he's widely recognized as the father of artificial intelligence. In fact, he's been showcased in the documentary, The Singularity. In his 3-decade career, he's been the go-to mind in everything AI. He's also the pioneer of UAI, and his resume is without parallel. Director of Research of the Machine Intelligence Research Institute, Chairman of the OpenCog Foundation, and Chief Scientist and Chairman of AI software company Novamente. He's been responsible for training the cream of the crop PhD-level AI scientists. He's a member of the prestigious Forbes Technology Council. Plus, he's been Chief Scientist at a Hanson Robotics company, the developer of Sophia, the world's first robot citizen. I see him as the top mind in AI today. And he's not just a scientist, he's an entrepreneur who's pioneered the toll booth model, where anyone can participate in UAI cash flow. In fact, Forbes magazine calls his company the future of AI. And let me tell you, this company generated a lot of excitement during its initial offering back in 2017. Institutional investors went nuts, with interest totaling $361 million. The offering was oversubscribed by a stunning 10x. And when they opened the floodgates to the live offering, it sold out in a single minute. 1 single minute. Fast forward to today, 5 years later, they've lived up to their promise. Look, I understand that this stuff is complicated, so let me break it down. They've developed the rails to bring UAI to the masses of businesses. They use a reasoning engine combined with a global network of trusted UAI agents. They built this complex architecture into their marketplace. It's a combination that will evolve over time into a much more complex and dynamic ecosystem, automatically improving the overall intelligence of the platform. And the best part is, it's a self-perpetuating marketplace, meaning each UAI program can create its own new UAI programs to do very specific tasks. So what we're talking about is a fully autonomous and evolving network, faster and more robust than any single developer could have created. It uses neurosymbolic and subsymbolic architecture. With this architecture, you could quickly build out the platform into a complex mix of interconnected UAI. And the most exciting part is, it could quickly self-evolve into a situation where you have more intelligence than the sum of its parts. So the marketplace of UAI is giving you a marketplace with a massive trail of transactions that you can profit from. Just take a look at all of the UAI services they're offering. Machine translations, text recognition, giving images super resolution, 64 different AI services right now, and that number is growing. Say you have an old photo of your grandfather who fought in World War II. It's old and it's tattered and frayed. Using the De-Oldify UAI, for the first time you can bring this American hero into full modern color and keep it safe forever. Sure, ordinary people like you and me can use this UAI, but the fact is most people aren't going to do it on their own. They will go to a business and have it done for them, and those are the customers for this marketplace. Potentially millions of small to medium-sized businesses. All the business needs to do is pick their UAI program, run it, and the results are just as good, if not better, than what Google or IBM can do. But it gets better. This UAI in this marketplace is different than any other. It can also outsource work, cooperate, and share data to other UAI in the marketplace. And do you think the 32 million small and mid-sized businesses want to work with big tech and pay, say, maybe up to 10 times the price? I highly doubt it. That's why this little company is in the driver's seat for selling to 99% of the businesses in the USA. Needless to say, that's a huge market, hungry for powerful yet easy to use ubiquitous AI. It's a system so advanced, banking giant Credit Suisse named this company as a finalist for its Private Innovation Circle event in Hong Kong. They presented at the World Economic Forum in Davos, the Web Summit in Lisbon, the AI Expo in Tokyo. The CEO has been interviewed by the BBC, CBS, and CNBC. They have partnerships with Fortune 500 companies like Cisco Systems, Anexis, Domino's Pizza. I could go on and on, but let's focus on what's important for you. Over the next year, I believe this little company has a nice windfall on the way. In fact, 10x potential on the price alone in the next few months. A private company called Stability AI recently raised $101 million at $1 billion valuation. Its AI creates new text, images, videos, code snippets, things like that. The same functionality available through the marketplace that we've been talking about. Only the marketplace is valued at less than $50 million. In other words, less than 10% of what Stability AI's valuation is. And the revenue model of the marketplace is so much better. Like I said, it's a toll booth investment where you can benefit from each and every transaction that goes through its UAI agent marketplace. But that doesn't even count as the most exciting thing about this company. It's what I call an auto-compounding investment. That's because this marketplace of UAI has more in common with eBay than just its business model. Think of a buy one and get two for free, or a buy one, get three for free, or 4 or 5 or a dozen for free. Just like when eBay spun off PayPal, a deal worth $49 billion, turning one Fortune 100 company into two Fortune 100 companies. This company is spinning off other specialty companies. In fact, I've already received not one but two of these spinoffs. And I've never had to pay for either one. They were just sent to me automatically, just showed up in my wallet. One in the financial services sector and another in the cloud computing sector. But here's the thing. I expect 3 to 4 new spinoffs in 2023. One of them is for a new UAI that will be the hub of research and testing solutions to extend human lifespans. And in the next few years, I expect about a dozen more exciting spinoffs. It makes this single investment your VIP ticket to the rapidly expanding UAI market. Nothing is guaranteed in investing, but combine the upside potential and the spinoffs I expect over the next 1 to 3 years, and we could be looking at one of the best investments in history. You just need to get in now if you want to qualify for the next free UAI company. Between the toll booth model and the auto compounding spinoffs, I'm talking about the potential to make hundreds of times your money. And that means you don't need to bet the farm on it. In the next 2 to 3 years, as little as a $250 investment could set you up for life. I have a full write-up on this company, and you're going to find out how to get it shortly. But first, let's talk about another tiny UAI company with massive potential. One of the top places in the world for AI research is none other than the famous Cambridge University AI Lab. Microsoft, NVIDIA, and IBM all call it home. And so does our next company. It aims to be the go-to player in all things automotive. Automotive is a huge market for technology right now. Electric car sales doubled from 3 million in 2020 to 6.6 million in 2021. And the market is expected to reach $64 billion in 2026. By 2028, $1.3 trillion. That's a compound annual growth rate of more than 24%, more than we're seeing in all aspects of the fast-growing software industry. To put it simply, this automotive UAI platform uses artificial intelligence combined with global data to make life on the road easier for all of us. From auto manufacturers to consumers, every single part of the automotive value chain. Recently, it partnered with the $78 billion German multinational company Bosch. And in case you don't know, they are a big player in the automotive industry. First, they're using this new technology to predict potential failures in Bosch's machinery. And as you probably know, machinery failures cost a lot of money, and not only in repairs, but in downtime. It's like a double whammy to revenue that they're working to eliminate. They're attacking other problems too. For example, I'm sure you know how hard it can be to find a simple parking space, especially if you're in the city. Using this revolutionary UAI, finding a parking spot has become a frustrating task of the past. See, Bosch's German scientists found that UAI will save the average motorist 41 hours and 900 euros per year just by eliminating looking for a parking spot. And sure, that seems like a small problem and not all that revolutionary, but stack problem after problem after problem on top of finding a parking spot, like finding the gas station with the lowest price, knowing exactly where black ice is lurking so it can be safely avoided. Any one of the hundreds of small problems faced by drivers every day. And you can see how big this thing could be. We're just seeing the tip of the iceberg in what UAI can do in the auto industry. Other big players are starting to find out what this little company can do too. UAI of Automotive just joined a consortium with major manufacturers like Honda, GM, Ford, Renault, and BMW. It's called MOBI. The aim is to revolutionize the transport sector using UAI technology. And this little automotive UAI company joined another consortium too. The Katina X Automotive Network is a huge ecosystem of automotive manufacturers, suppliers, equipment providers, and dealer associations. Some of the founding members of this consortium are massive, like Volkswagen, Mercedes-Benz, BMW Group, Siemens. Their goal is to create a uniform standard for information and data sharing across the entire automotive value chain, particularly in 5 major areas: logistics, quality management, maintenance, sustainability, and supply chain management. According to a spokesman, the data network will create an important starting point for the industry to respond more efficiently to the changes of digital transformation. UAI is a huge part of that transformation, but that's not all. This UAI company secured another key deal in the automotive industry. It's with Festo, a $3.1 billion multinational. They make automation technology for the auto industry and others that's sold in 61 countries around the globe. Using the UAI of automotive, buyers, products, and machinery will be able to connect and interact directly with each other, meaning the agents all talk to each other, learning and sharing and becoming more than the sum of their parts. Thousands and thousands of transactions going on every minute, just for one company. Now imagine doing business with thousands of companies. I'm not going to bore you with all the math, but I'm sure you're aware that we're talking in the billions of transactions per second range. And they'll do it all 24/7, 365 days a year. They never need to rest. They don't need to leave early for an appointment or take vacation. Now put yourself in the toll booth in between every one of these transactions. Can you see why I'm so hot on this little company? Partnerships aren't the only reason, because excellence drips down from the top. The team is stellar. The founders have been at the highest levels of AI research and commercialization. The CEO was a founding investor in DeepMind, which was bought by Google in 2014 for $600 million. He's an entrepreneur who helped commercialize DeepMind's AI technology, and he's a CEO with a track record of success. He was key in revolutionizing trading in the steel sector, and now he's focused on changing the way we transact and travel using UAI. The chief operating officer was an early developer at DeepMind with 30 years experience, including 10 as a chief technology officer. The chief science officer is a professor at Sheffield and established scientist in advanced machine learning AI. It's a real dream team. In the initial $6 million offering in 2019, demand was so high they sold out the offering in 10 seconds. In fact, out of 24,000 people wanting in, only 2,700 got in before they slammed the door shut. And they're not about to run out of money. They secured a massive $150 million development fund in 2022. Right after, they onboarded 40,000 new users. Sure, they've got a lot of momentum, but that's not even the exciting part. In the next month, this little company is about to start scaling the number of applications available on the platform at hyperspeed. They're going to bring to life the commercial partnerships that we've been talking about. So we're talking transactions, transactions, transactions. And that's going to help this little company potentially 10x in the next few months. But I think it could go higher. In fact, I predict it could hit 100x in the next 2 to 3 years. And while there's always going to be risk when it comes to investing, especially in this new market where things can be speculative and volatile, you don't need to invest a lot to see some nice gains that make a serious difference in your life. Even a small $250 stake could pay off over the long run, and pay off big. It doesn't have a few $100s to make what could be one of the best speculations of their lives. It's a no-brainer to me. That's why I wrote up a full dossier on this automotive UAI company. Before I show you how to get it, let me show you the next exciting opportunity. Now, of course, I'm not the only one who's caught on to this idea. Wall Street's top hedge fund managers are also piling in, and for good reason. Because outside of the ability to think creatively, computers are better than humans at everything. They can sort through billions of data points in seconds, correlate it just as fast, and implement every strategy known to man better than man himself. Take investing. Do you really think our fancy iron condors or put selling strategies are going to stand a snowball's chance in hell against a fully functional AI in the stock market? The answer is no. Once real AI starts trading stocks, our time in the market is probably over. And it's not just regular stock traders like you and me. Wall Street clearly sees the writing on the wall. Take Steve Cohen. He's bought over $1 billion in art, donated another billion to charity, and he recently just bought the New York Mets for $2.4 billion. In fact, he's number 38 in the Forbes 400, the list of top wealthiest Americans. He's also the founder of Point72, one of the biggest hedge funds on Wall Street, trading with more than 17 billion on hand. You might recognize him as the main interest on the Showtime series Billions. To put it bluntly, Steve Cohen is one of the richest men alive and one of the best traders who's ever walked the earth. But the minute AI starts trading, Steve Cohen's skills as a trader won't matter, and he knows it. That's why his hedge fund created an entirely new division focused on investing in AI and AI convergent companies. Just last year, Mr. Cohen jumped into a massive $853 million deal to buy an AI company near his headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut. Steve Cohen knows the big shift to AI trading is coming, and he's putting his hedge fund first in line. Unfortunately, you can't join him. Point72 closed its doors to new clients in August of 2020. And even if they were accepting more clients, you would need millions to apply, and I'm sure a few personal connections wouldn't hurt either. So there's no way you're getting in on Steve Cohen's money train for the first hedge fund run by an AI. However, there's already one hedge fund trading with UAI that's so new and so small, it's going to level the playing field. Because from the numbers that I've seen, and I'll show you everything in just a second, this tiny UAI hedge fund is already dominating. And right now, while the price is so low, absolutely anyone can get in on the action. Now, I want to be absolutely clear. It's like a real hedge fund. It carries the same traditional 2 and 20 price structure as Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, Bridgewater Associates. It's the same that I charge my clients. And this UAI is trading with real money right this second. There are 3 simple features that make this hedge fund different from the rest of Wall Street. First, of course, is that it's run by a UAI, the most advanced trader on the planet. Second, you don't need a minimum account size or special connections to get in. Anyone with $10 to their name can have their digital assets managed by the most advanced trading UAI on the planet. And the third difference? This UAI hedge fund is absolutely crushing the traditional stock market, as you'll see here in a minute. This April, the founders of this hedge fund-like technology put out a call to regular traders. Put your money into our 2 beta test portfolios, and we'll grow it for you. Investors pounced on the opportunity, and the fund reached its cap of 2.5 million in under a minute. 3 months later, on June 27th, we have the results. The first portfolio outperformed one market bellwether by 32%, and the second portfolio beat another market bellwether by a massive 45%. Oh, something I should mention right here. This beta test ran from April 12th to June 27th of this year. The S&P at that time, it sank 11%. So even while most investments were tanking, the beta asset management beat the stock market by 32% and 45% respectively. As I mentioned before, Steve Cohen's $20 billion hedge fund is betting the house on AI trading, and there's no way for you to join him. But this new UAI-based hedge fund is still very inexpensive, less than 23 measly pennies right now. And it's already proven it can beat everyone else only investing in stocks by up to 45%. How many people do you think that's going to attract to this hedge fund-like technology? It's got no minimum investments. You don't need to be an accredited investor, and you don't need any special Wall Street connections to get your foot in the door. In fact, this is the everyman's hedge fund technology. Hundreds, thousands of new investors will be knocking at the door. But you don't have to put money into the hedge fund to make money. You want in on the UAI technology. And because this is another toll booth company, you'll be in the middle of every transaction. Like the other companies I covered, the play is in investing in the asset at the heart of every single one of those transactions. The more investors, the more transactions, the more you could stand to make as the assets surge in value. Now that the beta is over, I expect them to open to a flurry of new investors next quarter. Just the announcement could potentially rocket this little company by 5 or 10x inside the next year. That's why it's important to get a tiny stake in this company now. Like the rest of these UAI companies, I believe all you need is $250 for the chance at life-changing gains over time. Before we wrap up, let me quickly tell you about one more company I'm really excited about, and I'm not alone. 198 million people voted it as the second most important technology of its kind. I guarantee you've never heard of it, but Mark Zuckerberg, CEO of Meta, formerly Facebook, is going to hate this company. You see, not long ago, Facebook's cloud data was hacked, and the personal information for all 530 million of its users was exposed. Phone numbers, full names, physical addresses, every kind of personal information you can think of, all made available to the highest bidder on the dark web. For their mistake, the feds hit Facebook with a $5 billion fine. And Facebook isn't the only company facing cloud security issues. A recent industry survey found a shocking 98% of companies experienced at least one cloud data breach in the last 18 months. According to IBM, the average cost for each cloud security breach is $4.35 million. Man, that's got to be billions of dollars these companies lost. With that kind of money on the line, it's no surprise that security is the fastest growing sector in the $400 billion cloud computing space. And one company is about to capture a nice slice of that market with an unbeatable UAI technology. Now, to be clear, I'm not talking hard to beat or difficult to beat. I mean literally invincible. So far, there's been 372 hackathons with huge sums of money up for grabs for whoever could break into this tech, with prizes on the line for $1.3 million, $2.5 million, even $5.1 million. In 5 minutes, I counted up to $15.9 million in prize money. And those are just the most recent biggest bounties. Fact is, there are dozens and dozens of these hackathons that go on every year. And with all that money on the line, not one of the best hackers in the world have been able to break into this tech. At less than a penny, anyone can afford to take a chance on this UAI opportunity. In fact, I believe it's got 1,400% built into the price right this minute. And we could see it happen in the next 3 months, maybe sooner. And maybe that's conservative too. A competing technology that's not near as robust has a market cap 3,700% larger than this cloud security UAI. And the market will notice that. If the market cap gap closes even 50%, you're looking at a 1,800% pop within 6 months. Listen, I want you to have all 4 dossiers of these amazing UAI companies. The marketplace of UAI, run by one of the greatest AI minds on the planet. Automotive UAI, partnered with Bosch and 2 massive automotive consortiums. The hedge fund UAI, about to open up to new investors. And the cloud security UAI, 100% unhackable. Here's why. We're at the tipping point where ubiquitous AI becomes part of the fabric of everyday life. And what's going to accelerate it are the rails that it runs on. So here's where the magic happens. Adding artificial intelligence to these rails is a potent combination of technologies. And when you hit the right combo of technologies, they change the world. Because when the right technologies intersect, they don't get twice as powerful, they get exponentially more powerful. For example, before gas-powered cars came on the scene, electric and steam-powered cars ruled the road. But when oil refining technology intersected with internal combustion technology, they were crushed. Now, there are 1.4 billion cars on the road in the world. And the auto industry is worth $2.9 trillion, spawning fortunes for automakers like the Ford family that's lasted for generations. When we had the old brick mobile phones, it only had one single use, calling one person. But when mobile technology intersected the internet, not only could you make calls, suddenly you had a shopping mall, photo and video studio for social media, a digital wallet, all of it at your fingertips. Today, 83% of the globe owns a smartphone. That's more than 7 billion devices. Talk about fast. It's become a $484 billion industry in just 2 short decades. And by 2030, it will be bumping up near $1 trillion. No doubt the market penetration for technology is getting faster by the decade. I could go on and on with examples, but this is the bottom line. Today, we have what I believe is the most powerful technology intersection of all. UAI combined with a brand new technology, the blockchain. And as far as I'm concerned, it's the end-all be-all of all technological intersections, where UAI becomes adopted by the masses. Again, we're talking a $15.7 trillion economic windfall by 2030. And look, it took America 230 years to build our GDP to $15 trillion. As you know, that was the economic input of every man, woman, and company in the country. But the UAI revolution is on track to hit that in just 7 short years. If you aren't seeing dollar signs dancing in your head, it needs to be examined. UAI combined with blockchain is the holy grail of investments in this market. Even big tech is going to have to use the blockchain to make their AI into commercial success. And let me tell you why. Big tech is constantly protecting its kingdom. And by keeping their proprietary AI in a closed system like Google's DeepMind or IBM's Watson, big tech gains more control and they gain more pricing power. But to make it mass market, that closed system model fails spectacularly for one major reason. It's too slow to be used in the mass market. That's because they built in a huge roadblock, a kind of a self-inflicted wound. In order to communicate with their AI, big tech set up what's called a permissioned system. Think of it as a handshake that introduces itself and confirms that you're safe to come in. Now, here's what's important about that. It takes time to shake hands. So these permission systems are too slow to act in real time. However, the blockchain is permissionless. Trust is built into the system. So for one UAI agent to talk to another, it doesn't need a handshake. And that's why this new UAI is about to spread like wildfire. If you've ever wanted to make an investment where a tiny starting stake could make you rich, this is it. All you need to get started is my guidance into the brave new world of digital assets. And recently, I've created a way to share my expertise outside of my wealth management clients. This is for people who are committed to building wealth in every way possible from the fast-moving digital asset space. In other words, you have to be committed to this. I left a career in the gold market like a bad habit just to put my full attention on digital assets. Gold had always made me money, but it was slow, and I'd seen tons of millionaires sprout from the digital asset space, although I never thought I'd be one of them. So I researched these digital assets kind of as a hobby at first, and then I found myself more and more in front of the computer, 8-10 hours a day. And then one day, I opened up a drawer in my home office, and I saw 5 1-ounce rounds of gold. And they were just sitting there, and I had almost forgot about them. So for me, it was found money. I cashed them in, and after all the hours of deep research, I pulled the trigger on my first digital asset trade. It turned out I could make so much more money way faster with digital assets. It would have taken decades for me to achieve that same financial freedom through gold. But because of digital assets, I became a millionaire in short order. Just take a look at some of my top performing trades. I bought a digital asset, the symbol was NEO, in 2016. That transformed $2,000 into $110,000 in 6 months, a 2,700% payday. I'd never seen anything like that happen with my gold investments. And from there, I never even looked back. I remember in January of 2018, I put $1,200 into a digital asset with the symbol XLM. 2 months later, I cashed out with a $76,000 profit, a 6,200% return on my money right there. In March of 2017, I deep dove reams of research on a new money transfer network, XRP. Seeing its potential, I bought XRP that month and ended up making a ridiculous 14,000% gain over the next 11 months. Listen, if you had invested in the S&P 500 the first day it became a public index 40 years ago, you'd only be up 3,400% today. Meanwhile, by investing just a small amount of money into XRP, I made 4 times more money in a year than what the S&P 500 had produced over 4 decades. Every time I bought and sold, I just rolled the money into more digital assets. And only once to my recollection did I sell my position and lose money. Of course, I'm talking real money, not paper money. And by rolling every trade I've made into more digital assets, I've got an incredible return on investment. And I'm planning on making a whole lot of money as these UAI companies take hold. And when I see the totality of the digital asset space, I look at it like a pyramid of money-making opportunities. Take a look. Sure, I made a ton of money on digital assets like cryptocurrencies, but there's a larger universe of interconnected assets with massive upside. These are all investments where you can turn a tiny little stake into a big chunk of change. In other words, my overriding goal is to turn a little into a lot. So let's break down my entire pyramid of profit potential. At the very bottom, under the pyramid, that's the ground that the pyramid sits on. It represents AI and UAI, which I see as the key to all digital assets, meaning everything in the entire pyramid will be powered by it. Now, on layer 1 of the pyramid, we've got digital assets, the blockchain companies, and the cryptocurrencies. And this is all about the blockchain, the single most powerful technology that will carry everything. It's being used by Fortune 500 companies like Amazon, Citigroup, Microsoft, Intel, and even old stodgy guard insurance companies like MetLife. It's fast, scalable, and as I showed you, it's ultra secure. However, I'm not interested in getting into big tech, but I want the new innovative companies with low-cost structures that can thrive in this new environment that we find ourselves in. Next up, on layer 2, this is virtual reality, augmented reality, extended reality, all of the tools for the metaverse. Now, maybe you think the metaverse is years away. I'm here to tell you it's not. I personally spend time there every day. In fact, There are more than 1 billion users today. I plan to make a fortune in all three by breaking down the devices and looking at all the little components and see where the biggest gains are going to be made. Virtual reality has some of the highest growth potential of any technology, with a stunning 45% compound annual growth rate over the next 6 years. It's being rolled out in companies like Boeing, UPS, Walmart, Caterpillar, Lockheed Martin, and more. One of the things that I'm looking at is the eye tracking technology. And so you've probably seen the VR goggles. Well, eye tracking technology will control your movement inside the virtual worlds. And it's going to be a game changer with 10x potential within a year. Augmented reality is growing at a compound annual growth rate of almost 41%. Where virtual reality puts you in virtual worlds, augmented reality brings the virtual worlds and real worlds together. And I'm a military veteran, and I am super excited to see the powerful capabilities that AR is going to bring to our forces. Just take a look. Or in real estate, in architecture, or healthcare. I'm looking at the fastest growing segment of AR, and that's the software. Specialized software stocks can produce huge profits, like Genesis International, maker of remote sensing software. It rose 1,900% in just 2 years. Next, extended reality. To put it simply, it essentially combines AR and VR. But get this, it's one of the most exciting growth areas on the planet, with a compound annual growth rate of a massive 57% for the next 3 years. And what's inside of these devices is going to make millionaires. Like inside some Apple devices, including the iPhone, is LiDAR technology. You've likely heard of LiDAR before, but what you probably don't know is it's used to create a 3D map of physical surroundings to create augmented reality. And here's the thing, it's about to go in all kinds of things, from cars, where it's used for self-driving, surveying tools, and get a load of this device. It's called the AccuVein, used to make sure that doctors can get right into your blood vessels instead of turning you into a pincushion. And extended reality LiDAR tech is a big part of it. I'm waiting for the timing to be right on small LiDAR companies that I believe have a 10x potential. Moving on to layer 3, we've got robotics and logistics. Of course, you probably know robots will be controlled by artificial intelligence, like Optimus. But robotics is exploding in our lives, like Roombas that vacuum your home, robotic lawnmowers, even tools like Amazon's Alexa. Lots of new robotic tech is coming online, and the profits can be explosive. For example, industrial robot maker Teradyne. The stock soared by more than 280% in less than 2 years. And with all kinds of new robotic devices coming in the next year, the profit opportunities are staggering. Now, maybe you think logistics is boring, but you probably don't know how AI is changing the world of logistics. McKinsey estimates that companies will generate from $1.3 trillion to $2 trillion a year in economic value from using AI in supply chains and manufacturing. It's going to make getting your goods much more efficient than it is today and boost our economy into the trillions. And finally, at the top, equity investments. Look, public companies, they're looking for ways to solve their problems. We're already seeing virtually every industry adopting artificial intelligence. And I believe that UAI is the perfect solution. But even regular AI companies can do extremely well. Upstart Holdings is a cloud-based AI company. It had peak gains of 1,850% in under a year. Everyone's heard of chipmaker NVIDIA. They make a lot of the chipsets used in AI. It soared to peak gains of 950% in less than 3 years. The Trade Desk uses AI to help advertisers. It jumped to peak gains of 570% in about 9 months. All in all, the pyramid of digital assets is perhaps the biggest money-making opportunity of our lifetimes. Bigger than Tesla, bigger than Facebook, even bigger than Apple. Remember, we're talking projections of $15.7 trillion by 2030, up from just $136 billion today. The best part is you only need tiny stakes in these companies for the potential of accumulating some really nice wealth over time. Still, there's risks. The digital asset space is notoriously volatile and is speculative. Not every token and not every company is going to make it, and not every investment is going to be a huge winner. It's a journey, a wealth building opportunity, and you can't go into this half-hearted. But even one big winner can make up for any losses and change your life. So if you see the potential here, I share everything in my digital heavyweights community. And I think there are a lot of people out there who want to join me on this quest. My goal is nothing less than this: to lead and guide the most methodical, most meticulous, and most disciplined digital asset investors in America. Because, like me, I know folks hate losing money. There are tens of thousands of digital assets out there, and the fact is, Most of them aren't worth squat. That's why I spend most of my waking hours grinding through research, reading the market, observing the psychology of investors and sentiment analysis, and running all of it through the lens of game theory. And that helps me post win after win after win. No one I know has a personal track record in the digital asset space like I do. Just remember, I once boosted my entire net worth by 62 times just because I know these assets like the back of my hand. And I share all of my deep dive research with my tight knit digital heavyweight community. Rest assured, I put my money where my mouth is. I won't recommend anything that I don't put my own personal money into, including all the UAI companies that I just talked about. And in just minutes, you can have all 4 dossiers. Each one has every detail of each UAI company that's important to you, including the easiest way to buy them. It's very simple. You can make these transactions in a matter of seconds, and I'll give you all of the step-by-step details. But I don't stop there. You see, these markets, they move incredibly fast, and my community is always on the cutting edge. Every week, we send out trades in my weekly digital trade memos. These are the most promising profit opportunities in the entire digital asset space. And I can't stress this enough. In the world of digital assets, a literal joke can turn into something of monetary value within just a couple of keystrokes. And that's why it's so important to look at these assets under a magnifying glass and not just invest in them because your Uber driver told you to. Now, my tight-knit community of digital asset investors look at my system like a Bible for investing in digital assets. And you get these recommendations in my weekly digital trade memos. I'm focused on the absolute best quality digital assets, and you should be too. I believe these UAI companies have more potential than anything out there right now. In fact, by 2030, when AI is projected to be a $15.7 trillion economic phenomenon, every one of them could have Bitcoin-like potential. Listen, when Bitcoin became easy to buy through exchanges back in 2013, it was about 98 bucks. Had you held on to it to the peak, we're talking close to a 68,000% return in less than a decade. So let me do the math for you. That's 680 times your money in about 8 years. And because these UAI companies are so cheap right now, a return like that might be conservative. It could happen even faster. Remember, we're talking about UAI companies that go for as little as a penny. A penny. That's why a $250 stake in each could change your life. No need to bet the farm. A little money goes a long way in this market. And it gets even more exciting. I'll also show my community how to trade for fast money with options. I'm talking options plays with short time windows that take advantage of the volatility in the digital asset market. With these digital asset options trades, you have the chance to make up to 100%, even up to 500% gains in a single week, even if the market is going down. And if you've never traded options before, you have nothing to fear. The way I play these types of options is less risky, and it's a whole lot simpler than stock options. So as part of my digital heavyweights community, you get my brand new course called Digital Options Trading. It tells you everything you need to know. And after I make a recommendation, I don't hide. I stay in close contact with my community every other day. In fact, 3 times a week, you'll be invited to my live broadcast, Digital Heavyweights Live. During these live streams, we get down and dirty with new recommendations, speculative plays, which I refer to as lottery tickets, new options plays, and all of the trends that I see unfolding in and around the digital asset market. I love doing these live webcasts because they give me the opportunity to interact with the community at the highest level. And they love it too, judging from the conversations that we have. Outside of my personal clients, the Digital Heavyweights community is the only place where I share this information. Could you say I'm an evangelist? You bet. There's no other market on earth that has the potential to turn hundreds of dollars into tens, even hundreds of thousands over the next 2 to 3 years. And I'd love to be your guide and spend a lot of time showing you how to change your life like I changed mine. That's why I'm going to do something really special by taking you deep into my world. I've arranged for 100 top-of-the-line virtual reality devices to be sent free to my new digital heavyweights today. This is being done on a first-come, first-served basis. On the next page, you'll have the opportunity to claim yours when you join my digital heavyweights. So if the world is going virtual, well, here's your chance to experience it on our dime. So if you want in, there's a link below that says join now. Just click it and you'll go to a secure page that shows you everything you get when you subscribe, including some great surprises. But don't delay. These UAI companies have catalysts that could skyrocket the prices in the coming weeks. I've never been this excited about what's unfolding. Join me and we can work together and we can build your future. Just click the Join Now link below, grab your virtual reality headset, and I'll see you soon in the digital heavyweights.